persons learned in the Vedas who utter Omkara and who are great sages in the renounced order enter into Brahman. Desiring such perfection, one practices celibacy. I shall now explain to you this process by which one may attain salvation. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Lord Krishna explains that Brahman, although one without a second, has different manifestations and features. For the impersonalists, the syllable Om is identical with Brahman. Krishna here explains the impersonal Brahman in which the renounced order of sages enter. In the Vedic system of knowledge, students from the very beginning are taught to vibrate Om and learn of the ultimate impersonal Brahman by living with the spiritual master in complete celibacy. In this way, they realize two of Brahman's features. This practice is very essential for the student's advancement in spiritual life. But at the moment, such brahmachari, unmarried celibate life is not at all possible. The social construction of the world has changed so much that there is no possibility of one's practicing celibacy from the beginning of student life. Throughout the world, there are many institutions for different departments of knowledge, but there is no recognized institution where students can be educated in the brahmachari principles. Unless one practices celibacy, advancement in spiritual life is very difficult. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya has announced, according to the scriptural injunctions for this age of Kali, that no process of realizing the Supreme is possible except the chanting of the holy name of Lord Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim yat kripatamaham mande Shri Gurum Dinataranam. Some years back, I was traveling to Gangotri. So this was in the year, I think, 2019. About, say, 7 years back. 6.5 years back, maybe. So we had taken a cab. We were going from Dehradun to Gangotri. And first time I was going that side. So I think there are two routes to go to Gangotri from Dehradun. One is through Rishikesh, another is through Mussoorie. So we went through Mussoorie. So from Dehradun, Mussoorie is at a higher level. So you go through the mountains and all that road and go up. Once we reached Mussoorie, from Mussoorie, when we were going towards Gangotri, in the distance, we could see the snow-capped Himalaya mountains. It was a wonderful sight to see. So, very apt description, snow-capped mountains. Because on the top, you could see the Himalaya mountains all white. So it's all the snow. And then below that, we could see all green. It was, long distance. And then we drove for several hours. Then on the way, when we drew closer to the Himalayas, then slowly started seeing huge boulders, huge caves, and several streams of water. And then one place the driver stopped, the cab driver, he stopped and he said, there is a hot water spring here. Why don't you go and see it? So we all went there. Then there was a hot water spring. They had made a little pond kind of thing. And some people were taking bath in it. Of course, I didn't take bath, but I just dipped my hand. It was really hot, naturally hot water spring. And then we drove further. And then later in the evening, we reached one place. Then we had, there was some hotel or restaurant or whatever. there was a hotel. So we stayed at the hotel. And this hotel was overlooking the Ganga flowing down. Of course, there it was called, I think, Alakananda. Towards, there is one spot where Bhagirathi and Alakananda come and meet, and then it flows as Ganga. I think it is some Devaprayag or something like that. So anyway, so this spot was on the bank of the Alakananda, and we could see crystal clear water flowing down. And on the other bank, dense forest. And then next day again, we continued the journey, and finally we reached Gangotri. And when we reached Gangotri, the vehicle doesn't go up to Gangotri. For those of you who have visited Gangotri, of course, you will know. So we had to park in a parking lot. Then there was a bridge which we had to cross by foot. And then there were a lot of shops lined with different articles. Some were eateries, some were selling different kinds of goods. Shishi, Krishna, Rukmini, Satyabhama ki jai. And so finally we reached the spot where there are those temples and all that, and we could see again the Ganga water flowing very crystal clear and so beautiful, but it was very cold. The water was very cold. So you see, when we were at Mussoorie, from there when we looked at the Himalayas, what we saw was only one snow-capped mountain. At the top it is white and below that it is green. That's all. But when we drew closer, what did we see? We saw there were mountains. I mean, in the mountain there were caves, there were boulders, there were trees, there were streams, there were hot water springs, and there were so many people, so many villages we passed by, so many houses, so many hotels. And when we reached Gangotri, there are bridges there are so many shops there, varieties of things. But from the distance, when you look at it, what do you see? You don't see anything. You just see one snow-capped mountain, white at the top, and then it's all green below. So from the distance, it appears to be a homogeneous object sitting there. One single object sitting there. But when you come closer, you see there are varieties there. Boulders, caves, hot water springs, streams, rivers, people, birds, animals, trees. So many things. Such variety is there. So actually, if you see, Prabhupada uses this phenomenon to explain how the absolute truth has three features. So, in the Srimad-Bhagavatam, it is mentioned, Vadanti tattva vidas tattvam ejnanamadvayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti shabdyate. That the absolute truth has three features. One is called Brahman, another is called Paramatma, the third is called the Bhagavan feature. So those who are on the path of Jnana, those who are practicing Jnana Yoga, for them, what is their goal? Their goal is they want to merge into Brahman. For them, Brahman is an undifferentiated, attribute-less entity. It has no name, it has no form, it is just plain Brahman. It is some sort of thing which you cannot describe. It is beyond description. And when you attain liberation, when you attain mukti, what happens? You lose your existence and you merge into that Brahman. You become Brahman. And there is no variety in that. It is just one, bright light kind of thing. There is no variety in that. Nothing is there. It's just oneness. No differentiation. In the material world, you are there, I am there, so many other living entities are there. Then there is dead matter. So much variety in the material world. So many varieties of forms. Humans, birds, animals, trees, plants, aquatics, different kinds of living entities. The Vedic scriptures state that there are 84 lakh species. So, you can imagine so many varieties of living entities. Then there is varieties of dead matter also. Oceans, rivers, mountains, different kinds of planets, deserts. These are all different manifestations, varieties of manifestations of dead matter. So varieties of manifestations of living entities and varieties of manifestations of dead matter. So this material world is full of varieties and differentiation. You are there, I am there, he is there, they are there, we are there. Varieties and differentiation. Man is different from animal, animal is different from plants, plants are different from aquatics. So much differentiation we see in the material world. So the jnanis, the people who are cultivating knowledge by studying the Upanishads and the Vedanta Sutras, they come to the conclusion, matter means there are varieties, there is differentiation of you and me. Spiritual means it must be the opposite. So in spirituality, in Brahman, there is no differentiation, everything is one. So this Brahman is like this understanding, this perception of spiritual absolute truth as an undifferentiated Brahman is like looking at that Himalayas from Missouri. You have a homogeneous object. There are no varieties. But what is the reality? Reality is the Himalayas is not a homogeneous object. You go close to the Himalayas, then what will happen? You will see varieties of living entities and objects. So similarly, this Brahman is a covering of the absolute truth. That covering which appears to be homogeneous, but behind it, if you go closer to it, if you approach it and penetrate that Brahman, what do you find? You find varieties of spiritual existence. In the spiritual existence, which is called Vaikuntha Loka, there are planets, there are different living entities in the form of human beings, in the form of animals, in the form of birds, in the form of plants, in the form of aquatics, all kinds of varieties are there. So, those who are jnanis and those who are yogis, Ashtanga yogis, they aim to get liberation up to the point of reaching that Brahman effulgence, which has no differentiation. And such people are being described by Krishna in today's verse, those who practice Ashtanga yoga mixed with jnana. So this is jnana mishra yoga, which Krishna is describing in today's verse. And such people who practice Ashtanga yoga mixed with jnana, they are described here, persons learned in the Vedas who utter Omkara and who are great sages in the renounced order enter into Brahman. Desiring such perfection, one practices celibacy. I shall now explain to you this process by which one may attain salvation, by which they can attain mukti. So, that Brahman, although Krishna is describing how to achieve that Brahman state, that's not the final one. Beyond that, you have to go. And Prabhupada gives another wonderful example to illustrate this. The example of the sun. You know, the other day, couple of days back, I was driving. I was going somewhere and it was late in the evening. Not very late, it was towards dusk. So, the sun was setting and so from the west, the sun rays were coming into the vehicle through the windows. So, naturally, what do? We turn that, there is one, light guard. We turned that around and turned it towards the window so that the light would not, because it was coming down from the right side. And then when I turned to look at the sun from where the sunlight was coming, there was this sun which was brilliantly crimson red. Sun is normally, when you see, it will be, bright white. But in the evening, it was red in color, crimson red. And slowly, and there were some mountains. Silhouette of the mountains could be seen. And slowly the sun was going down. You can make out. Sun is going down, going down, going down. After a little while, the sun got completely covered. So you see, many of you would have experienced this. All of you would have experienced this. This is not something new which I am explaining. But when the sun rays come into the car, you are sitting in a room or a car or a bus or whatever. From the window, the sun rays enter into wherever you are sitting. So, the sun has, in one sense, the sun has entered your room or your space. But it is not the sun. Although it is the sun, simultaneously it is different. Only the sunshine has entered. But where is the sunshine coming from? It is coming from the sun planet. Now, if you are able to enter the sun planet, what will you find there? You will find the Surya Narayana, the sun god who is there, who rules over the sun planet. So you see, there is the sun god who is the actual controller of the sun planet, and the sun planet is emitting sun rays. So Brahman is like the sun rays. And then when you enter the sun planet, that is like understanding Paramatma. And there you can find varieties. And even in the sun you go, there are many, many living entities. So they may not be like the forms that we see on earth. They will have forms which are suitable for the sun planet. Like here on earth, our bodies are largely made of earth element. So we are able to live comfortably, freely. But there is the ocean. Inside the ocean, there are so many aquatics. They have a different kind of body by which they can live within water. So similarly, on the sun planet, it's full of fire. And there, the living entities have a body which is suitable to live in fire. So there is the sunshine, which is undifferentiated. You cannot make out any differentiation in the sunshine. But you enter the sun planet, immediately there are so many other living entities, so many varieties. And then there is the chief person in the sun planet, which is the sun god. So the sunshine is like Brahman. And the localized aspect, Paramatma, is like the sun planet. And then there is Bhagavan, who is like the sun god. He is Krishna. So Krishna is the source of Paramatma, and Krishna is also the source of Brahman. And all three of them are different features of the same absolute truth. Like when we speak of the sun, sunshine is also one aspect of the sun. The sun planet is also one aspect of the sun. And the sun god is the ultimate aspect of the sun. So, those who chant Omkara and who study the Vedas, the Upanishads, the Vedanta Sutras, what is their destination? Their destination is Brahman. And to enter into Brahman, what all do they have to follow? They have to follow celibacy, they have to chant Omkara, and they have to take the renounced order, which is sannyasa, and they have to chant Omkara, and they have to study the Vedic scriptures, Upanishads and Vedanta Sutras. So when they fulfill all these conditions and they practice Ashtanga Yoga also along with that, then while they quit their body, they chant Omkara and quit their body, they will achieve that merging into Brahman. That mukti they will attain. But they will not be able to go beyond it. If you want to go beyond it, what do you have to do? First of all, in today's world, in Kali Yuga, even practicing this much is not possible. Even if you want mukti, you want liberation in Brahman, even for that, to attain oneness with that Brahman, if you want to attain that, even that is not possible in Kali Yuga. First of all, where do you study the Vedas, Upanishads, Vedanta Sutras? Nobody knows Sanskrit today. Hardly very few people know. So it is not easy. Number two, where is the question of practicing brahmacharya? Celibacy is supposed to be practiced right from the age of 5 years. Here, in Kali Yuga, there is no such culture. So, where is the question of practicing celibacy, brahmacharya? And after that, you have to renounce, you have to take sannyas, you have to go to the forest. You cannot be sitting in your home or in the city or in the town to practice Jnana Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga. That is also not possible, because we don't know if today, olden days, everybody would be trained during their brahmacharya period how to live in the forest, to identify the kinds of fruits, berries, leaves which you can subsist upon. That kind of training is not there now. You will not find grains in the forest. You will not find cloth in the forest. You have to wear tree bark. You have to live on the simple roots, berries, whatever is available. which has fallen down from the trees, and you should not end up eating poisonous fruits. So all these kind of things are there. And you have to be able to, when you are in the forest, all kinds of insects will be there, snakes will be there. So you need to know how to live so that these things, these insects and snakes will not cause any harm to you. But that kind of training, who gets today? Nobody gets. So in Kali Yuga, it is not possible to practice all these things. Brahmacharya, sannyasa, living in the forest, chanting Omkara with single pointed attention. Minds are all so disturbed in Kali Yuga. It is not possible to follow such a process of meditation in Kali Yuga. It is not possible. And ultimately, after doing all these things, what happens? You get only up to the point of Brahman. You are not able to go beyond that. You don't have realization of Paramatma. You don't have realization of Brahman. So ultimately, that is why in Kali Yuga, the greatest realization, the realization of Bhagavan and attaining liberation by crossing over this material world and crossing over even Brahman and approaching the planets, spiritual planets of Vaikuntha, where the Supreme Lord Himself resides, whether it is Narayana or it is Krishna. To be able to reach till there in Kali Yuga, it is made very, very easy. Simply by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So chanting of a mantra is common. Even in the process, if you want mukti and attain oneness with the Brahman, even there also you have to chant Omkara. Now if you want to attain Vaikuntha, go beyond Brahman and go to Vaikuntha and re-establish your original position as a servant of Krishna. For that also you have to chant. And for that, what do you have to chant? You have to chant the Hare Krishna mantra. And in Kali Yuga, the process is made very simple. Kaler doshandide rajan asti eko mahan gunaha. Kali Yuga is full of faults. People are not having the Vedic culture. They don't have spiritual knowledge. Manda hasumanda matayo, manda bhagya, upadruta. People are always disturbed. There are so many cheaters involved. So, following spirituality is very tough in Kali Yuga. At the same time, Kaler doshandide rajan asti eko mahan gunaha. But there is one great quality, one silver lining in Kali Yuga. What is that? Kirtana deva Krishnasya mukta sangha param vrajet. Simply by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, simply by doing Sankirtan of Krishna's holy names, what happens? Param vrajet, we can attain the supreme destination, which is to attain to Vaikuntha Loka, to go to Goloka Vrindavan. So this is the special facility given to the people of Kali Yuga because of all the faults which are pervading the Kali Yuga, the modern day age. So it is a very simple process compared to the earlier processes of whatever Krishna is describing here, the process of Jnana Mishra Yoga. So there what happens is so much austerity, tapasya, so much vairagya, renunciation, all these things are required. So apparently when we look at devotees in the temple singing and dancing in Kirtan, it appears as if this is very sentimental, and it appears like a yogi going to the Himalayas or to the forest and sitting all alone there and meditating. He appears to be superior. But in reality, it is the opposite. For Kali Yuga, in Kali Yuga, if somebody is meditating all alone and somebody is standing in a group and singing and dancing to Hare Krishna Mahamantra, actually speaking, the person who is engaging in Sankirtan is a higher yogi. So this is a great facility which is given to the people of Kali Yuga in order to be able to offset the difficulties or challenges and adversities that are presented to practicing spiritual life in the modern day age. So therefore, we should take up the process of Bhakti Yoga, the process of chanting Krishna's holy name and engaging in Sankirtan, reading Bhagavad-Gita, Srimad-Bhagavatam, and by this simple process, we can progress very quickly on the path of spiritual life, and we can also attain that supreme destination of liberation from this cycle of birth, death, disease, and old age which pervades this material world. Otherwise, what's the hope for all of us? All of us are caught up in the cycle of birth, death, disease, and old age. And as Kali Yuga progresses, these problems of birth, death, disease, and old age are only going to get aggravated. It's not going to reduce, it's not going to diminish. I mean, you look at the world, how this country and this world used to be 50 years back, 100 years back. So at that time also, people were having diseases, old age, these things were there. Death was also there. But today, science has advanced, technology has advanced, medicine has advanced. Along with that, what has happened? The number of diseases has also gone up. The kind of terrible diseases that mankind has to face has gone up. 100 years back, where was cancer? Where was AIDS? These things were not there. So more and more terrible cases are coming. Depression, anxiety. These things were there earlier, but very minuscule number. Now, the numbers are going up. So you see, with time, the effect of disease is also getting aggravated. People used to die 100 years back, 200 years back, but they used to live till a ripe old age. And at home, they would die leaving their body peacefully. Today, people die in all kinds of accidents, all kinds of wars. All these things have become much more prominent in Kali Yuga. So the aggravated effect of birth, death, disease, and old age is going to only increase as Kali Yuga progresses. And so therefore, anyone who wants to become free from this should take up the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, perfect his life, and go back to Godhead. So I'll stop here. Srimad-Bhagavad-Gita ki jai, Vishwaguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
Jaya Krishna